Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions, and today we're going to be talking about negotiation and the power of negotiating and how it can be used in so many different markets. I really hope that I earn your thumbs up in this video. And if you ask anyone how to negotiate, people get very entitled to that question, especially if they do it for their business or for their profession. Just like when you ask someone, how should you drive? People think that they're the best drivers, and if there's any other way to do it, it's the wrong way. I want to be extremely open-minded with the idea that what I'm sharing with you today is what I, in my experience, have found to be effective. It is just in my experience. So again, if you think a better way on how to negotiate, please share your best practices in the comment section, and I really hope that our viewers can benefit from that. So one of the things that I want to share with you is I wanted to explain what negotiation is to me, why I think it's such a powerful, what do I want to call it, best practice, or in a sense habit to have that I think can truly benefit you. Just ask yourself, are you someone that's going to buy a car in the future? Are you someone that's going to buy a home in the future? If you at least take a little bit of time to inform yourself with the idea of how important negotiating is, it can literally save you thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, no question about it. So when it comes down to negotiation and how I use it, it comes down to the cars that I invest in, and it even started at a very early age when it came down to I used to buy and resell iPhones, right? And I feel like a lot of people watching have had this like entrepreneurial type of kind of stages in life where they're buying and reselling things online, or they're buying and reselling things on Craigslist. And there weren't that many reselling platforms back then. But one of the things that I wanted to share with you on why I think negotiation is so powerful is people are willing to pay whatever dollar amount that they might have in mind, right? If I were to say that, hey, this solo cup is worth $1, right? Like, let's say you're at a baseball game, you want a cup of water, supply demand, I will sell you this cup of water, solo cup, right, for $1. The cup itself costs me 15 cents. So therefore I get to pocket the difference, and therefore, that's what I have to work with. So when it comes down to the idea of buying and reselling iPhones, one of the things that I did at a very early age was I would list a number of iPhones that I didn't even have in stock. I mean, I didn't have huge amounts of capital to work with, but I had a goal of trying to sell, 1 to 2 iPhones every single day. I had a goal of what I wanted to make per day, per week, and overall per month, and then hopefully per year if I were to stay consistent. And the really cool system that I had going on is I would have listings on Craigslist, I would have listings on eBay, I would have listings on Amazon of iPhones for sale, but I wouldn't even necessarily have them in stock. So if you hit me up through Craigslist that you wanted to buy my iPhone, I scheduled a date on, within 24 hours where I would then try to the best of my abilities, try to find that specific storage capacity, that specific color, and that specific style of iPhone overall model for a lower price point, and then therefore I get to pocket the difference. When it came down to the listings were pretty average, maybe above average overall price points, but I made sure that I did my part in, again, providing the best experience and making sure that they were, clean IMEI, they weren't blacklisted, and that there weren't any scuffs or any discrepancies with the overall iPhones. Therefore, I tried to do my part in providing them with the best experience, and of course, that comes at some cost, right? So the really cool thing about that is if I posted those iPhones for $220 and I would get a bite on eBay, or if I'd get a bite on Amazon and someone would buy it now, therefore, I had that pending transaction. I would have 24 to 48 hours to ship out the device. So then I would have to do my part in with the iPhones available in my area that were for sale to negotiate. So if I sold it for $220, I would make sure that I would do my part in trying to buy it for $150. $100, depending on what I had to work with. I would just make sure that based off of, again, what I already knew that I sold it for, I would try to build myself that margin of profit. And again, all I had to do was negotiate. I would, use a series of different other iPhones that were listed for sale in our area, what they were selling for, what could be wrong with the iPhone, just again, providing the obvious and asking them again, this is what I'm willing to pay for cash. If you want it, great. And if not, then I'll just move on to the next person. And that simple concept and that simple idea is literally what made me thousands of dollars, because I had this really nice little system going on where I was able to kind of like get my listings out there of the iPhones that I had for sale, while being able to actually buy them for a much lower price point. But I always had, in a sense, that sell price guaranteed. So again, I had a lot of fun with that, and I was still able to use a very similar concept. And now, a couple of years later, when it comes down to the supercars that I have, it's again a very similar concept that, I have a Lamborghini, I have a McLaren, I have a Porsche GT3 RS. And the really cool thing about that is that I don't necessarily just buy these cars just because I can. I'm a big believer that, if you can afford it, all you really have to do is inform yourself a little bit more about what the car is worth, and then doing your part in making sure that you try to not overpay. I know that there's dealerships, as we own one now, that are in business to make money. So I know that you could buy these cars and you can sell them for a profit. You just need to take a little bit more time to inform yourself. So what I began to do was informing myself before I were to buy a car. I would make sure that I was informed on what they were worth, what a dealership would pay for them, and what the market price was selling them for, and maybe what it depreciates at a 6-month or per year basis. So I knew kind of like what I had to work with and what cushion maybe I wanted to build for myself depending on how long I wanted to keep the car. And again, the really cool thing about that is I'm a cash buyer, meaning that if someone wants to sell the car, I don't have to take out a loan, anything like that. I'm able to leverage the cash that I have. And if you want to get rid of your car, especially quick to a cash buyer, then I have that leverage to negotiate with you, right? So yeah, you could potentially get $185,000 for your Porsche GT3 RS. But I'm telling you that I can give you $175,000 right now. And who knows, are you gonna sell it tomorrow, or are you gonna sell it, 6 months from now when someone finally comes and bites and tries to buy a car for $185,000? And maybe by then it might even have dropped in price and in value. And now I don't even wanna buy it for $175,000. So again, by being able to understand what you're able to leverage and how you're able to negotiate can then better determine how you're able to bring down that price. Like Phil loves to say, as close to zero as possible. At the end of the day, you want to make sure that you do your part in making it where it's a transaction that complements both parties. One of the other things that now we've scaled to is we've taken it from iPhones, we've taken it to cars, and now we've taken it to real estate. There's this idea of wholesalers. I'm not a wholesaler myself, but I buy houses from wholesalers. So the cool thing about that is that wholesalers pretty much do their due diligence. They try to determine what a property is worth. If there's a distressed seller or someone wants to sell their property off market, these wholesalers get the house in contract for a very low price point. They make a profit off of the difference of what the investor like myself is willing to pay for. And again, I still get it at a discounted rate and still being able to avoid commission and overall realtor fees. So the really cool thing about that is, as an investor, then I'm able to inform myself what the property is worth, what I'm paying for it, what I'm going to put into it if I'm going to rehab it, and then what I could potentially sell it for, and then of course the commission, title fees, and overall realtor fees that I'm going to incur as well. So again, it's a very simple concept that started at a very early age with the idea of negotiation, and as time went on and I built up my experience, I began to use that very similar concept in various different markets. And as you guys could see, it can be beneficial. I'm just a small example of what you can do when you know how to negotiate. And all it means is, how do you negotiate is you need to determine, and how do you determine what something is worth? How do you do that? You dedicate time to understand what someone is willing to pay for it. So again, by being more informed, you understand what the market value is, what you could potentially buy it for, how to negotiate, and that's your margin of profit. And then it's up to you if you want to lock in profits, or depending on, if you're investing in real estate and you're investing in a car, you're investing in any other market, right, of what you could potentially, do with it and stuff like that. So I just wanted to at least share a very simple idea of how it started from buying and reselling iPhones, on how it scaled to supercars, and now to overall properties. I was able to use a very simple concept of negotiation and able to scale where it literally started with a couple $1,000 a month, and it now scales to a couple $100,000 a year. So I really do appreciate you guys' time. I hope that I earned your thumbs up. I hope that this video just even sparks your interest and maybe just learning a little bit more about the power of negotiation, and hopefully it gets you one step closer to your overall goal. Don't forget to stay connected and join our free investing group. That's going to be the first link down below. We are the largest Facebook group for those who day trade in the stock market. We have over 243,000 members, and again, we are one link away. Like always, guys, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.